Okay, Dom, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And, you know, the main reason we wanted to have you on board is just to talk about all the amazing things that are happening now that we are merging into Southeast. So, Dom, what do you think the best part of us merging is?
Well, first, let me say thank you for having me on. I never take any training or being invited to help out lightly, and especially when it's, you know, I don't call you my friend, you know what I mean, Paige and Chantel and Freddie, and I think we've worked together a long time to have that type of relationship. So it's really cool to be a part of this and see where you guys are going. So thank you for that. And the biggest, you know, there's a multitude of different things, Paige, that I see that are crazy benefits with us merging. But I think the number one thing is, gosh, it's so hard to have a number one when there's so many. All right, I'm in this like three, okay? So there's like, I can't just pick one. I can't. All right, so first thing I want to say is the perspective that we're gaining. And I know probably a lot of us on this call our eyes have been opened over the past few weeks in some way, shape, or form. And I'm pretty confident that I can say that about everybody on this call, Paige. Does that make sense? And,
right.
And I think that's purely from perspective from other people who are doing what it is that we want to do. Now, does that mean that we didn't have it before as a company? Yeah, we do. We get trainings, things like that. But to have it so hands-on is going to change a lot of our worlds if we take advantage of it. And there's the huge F pages, you know, because there's some that just won't. But the ones who do, they're going to have a crazy advantage because they're going to be experiencing things through other people's experiences. So when they go through it, it'll be like the second time they've gone through it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so we're getting a lot of that. So perspective, huge. I think another thing is the structure. You know, I can admit it. Like, I'm like one of the most unstructured individuals out there. Like, I have a coach to get me more structured. I know that. I know that I'm kind of all over the place. Oh, wow, this, that, the other. Like, but that's not how you run a business. And they're running a business like a true business. Okay? And I think all of us can learn from that. And I'm saying starting with me, I'm eager to learn. You know, eager to learn from them. And so just that structure that's applied there, the business acumen. Okay, the business acumen that's there, the desire to want to see other people win, you know, and the results. You know, when you see other people and you're like, oh, well, John Wetmore, he has a track record of turning out $30,000, $40,000 a month producers. How do you know that? Have you seen the leaderboard?
Right. It goes on and on for days.
You know what I mean? It's just there's just some truths out there that, you know, honestly, I think I had to humble myself and go, hey, you don't know everything. You may know a little bit, but not nearly as much as some other people do, and your strengths are some other people's weaknesses, and your weaknesses are other people's strengths. So let's work together to make this thing better for everybody. So that structure there is huge. And like I said, it's one of those things that if we want to take a part of it, and that kind of leads me into like the numbers and things like that. It's like some of the things that they do initially, Paige, may seem like, why? Like, why do we have to do that? And it's like, well, no, you don't have to do anything. Let's be clear. There's no have to. But if you want the best shot to win, then you should do it. Meaning they do things in a way that there's so much structure there that they can identify who wants to win or not. Does that make sense? Like,
yes,
people go, why is it
does.
there? Well, it's really hard to see who wants to win if there's not much structure. You know, like, so they have these things. Get your numbers in here. Do this. Post this. Do that. Also, John and Mike and these managers can know, who should I be working with? Does that make sense? That's why, like, we did a call the other day, and Claudia asked a ton of questions. And she goes, well, I don't want to hog it. And I go, hey, don't worry about it. We need to stop worrying about what other people aren't doing and just take as much as we can from this thing. And if you're the only person on Polo or the Q&A asking questions, then it's for you. Does that make sense? And then maybe you'll inspire other people to do the same, But it's just one of those things to where the structure's there for a reason. It's not to micromanage. A lot of the structure is there so that you don't have to micromanage at the end of the day, because reaching out to people and asking them for their numbers is like micromanaging, and it's annoying. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's very annoying. We want you to be independent. We want you to just post them on your own. We don't want to have to ask for them. Does that make sense?
Right.
At all. And what that does for your business is it allows, even if your numbers aren't where they want to be, not posting your numbers shows that you don't want help. That's what I see. Does that make sense? Not doing it just shows that, I just don't want any help, which is fine, but then you just can't be upset about your result.
Yeah.
But when you're posting your numbers, it shows that, man, they want to get better. Does that make sense?
Exactly. And I think, Dom, that's an important point that I want us to just make sure everybody's clear on. There are times when I'm posting my numbers that I'm completely not satisfied with my numbers, okay? I don't like them. It would be my preference 100% to not post them. But I want to be on John's radar, and I want to be on Mike's radar, and I want to get their help. And if what they can give me back when they see my not so good numbers that I'm not happy about will help me improve those numbers, then who am I really doing a disservice to if I don't post it because I'm embarrassed by them, right? The whole point is to get better, right? So it's important to put it out there, no matter what you think of it, right? Because as you said, the people who are posting, they realize they're doing that because they want help. That's who I need to help. When a group is that big, you can't help everybody. And, there are people who aren't going to take advantage. You want to be sure you're working with the people who are working and who are raising their hand and asking for help. And by posting your numbers, you're raising your hand. Would you say that's accurate?
Well, you just made me think of leads. You know what I mean? It's like our leads are raising their hands saying they want help. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like they're saying, hey, come here, help me out. They're the ones that we're talking to. We're not talking to the other 98%. Now, do the other 98% of people need life insurance? Most likely. Does that make sense? But
yes.
We don't have the resources and time to go knock on everybody's door in the country. Does that make sense? We can't do that. We buy leads so that we can deal with the group that actually wants it. So if you want to become a lead and get better at this thing, you got to be the one that raises your hand and says, hey, I want it. Does that make sense? You got to be the one that says, hey, I see Julie and Claudia and Jen. I'm just yeah, they're going to win. John gave me a shout yesterday, by the way, just so you know, and he goes, hey, Jen, she's a beast. If she ain't a beast already, she's going to be a beast. You know what I mean? I was like, for sure. You know what I mean? It's just that type of stuff right there, and sharing that. See, she could want to be successful, but now to share what she's doing and have somebody else go, yep, I like that. Now it's a wrap for her. Does that make sense? Because she could have said, I want to do it, but it's really hard to get there without coaching. Does that make sense? And I think a lot of us just need somebody to believe in us and something to believe in, and somebody to perform for and somebody to perform with. Does that make sense?
And Dom, that's a good point. And, I have seen this in Jennifer myself, and I've shared that with her, right? But what do you think that does for her, her self-confidence and her ability to take the bad with the good that this business brings when she hears somebody other than just one person saying, I see that you can be really good at this?
Right? It's like that analogy. It's like my mom telling me I'm the cutest kid in the world. Does that make sense? It's
yes.
You're my mom. Of course you're going to say that. Does that make sense?
Well, not to mention you look just like your mother.
But then when somebody else starts saying, I was like, oh, you're pretty handsome. I was like, oh, thanks. Awesome. I didn't know that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
All right, cool. So, no, it's the same thing. You know what I mean? So we're just putting ourselves out there not to be judged, but to be assessed. Does that make sense? But to be There was a post that I think I shared. I believe I shared it. Michaela in the Mile High group, where she works with Zach. And actually, she's a new agent, and she's been with them for I want to say 2 months, at that. And
right.
Her transparency out there in the field, it's not, oh, I didn't close this. Yeah, she's just she had one that she goes, and if you guys heard this, I'm just repeating it to you, and if you didn't watch it, I'd go back and watch the videos from Michaela last night. Actually, it wasn't last night. It was the night before last. I'm sorry. I'm getting my days all mixed up. So she said, I had one appointment that I went to the door. I had an appointment. She said that she didn't want it. She said, I can't afford it when she opened the door. And she said, okay, and walked away. And she said, I cannot believe I did that. I froze up. I choked. How many of us have really told ourselves the truth that early in the business that we choked? Does that make sense? We were a deer in headlights. And just that type of transparency, you know what I mean, but not being down about it and things is very encouraging to other agents. It's very encouraging to me, and I think the more things like that we can share and just have that perspective on it, it's a home run. So I think the more of us, if we all do a little bit, we can take a lot. And I hope that makes sense. It's if we all just do a little bit, all right, this appointment here, I love what LaTuan's doing. Does that make sense? You guys have so many people. This is a lot of this structure stuff and is all new. So for us to be kind of picking it up so fast, this is pretty cool, to tell you the truth, Paige. You know what I mean? It's pretty cool to see and the benefits that people are getting out of it. And I remember our first day on Polo, Claudia saved 2 policies and wrote one. It's wow. You know what I mean? Nick Ayala gets on there and helps out. That's just cool stuff.
It certainly is. It certainly is. And, not everybody's comfortable doing it, right? Definitely doing some gentle pushing on my end. And, I'm doing it because, I started off on Marco Polo with Athena and in Athena's groups. And I didn't like it. I don't like being videoed, I got to be honest, on dial days, I'm not all glammed up, and do I want to be videoed? No. But she kind of pushed me through that because, it was if you want my help, you got to ask your question here. So I started asking my question there. And now I find myself gently pushing our agents as well. And it's really amazing when you see people having the benefit from it already. And hopefully that will make it so that, people don't mind the gentle pushing, because it is all aimed at helping all of us grow. Because as much as LaTuan is probably getting from the responses to her post, I also am sure she is getting a lot from when Claudia or Jennifer or Joe are getting on there and posting as well, right? So Janine's been on there. I think we just all need to get in the habit that's where we go to either share the success we had or to outline what just happened and I didn't make the sale and, what would you guys have done? And then getting the multiple feedback. And I would encourage everybody when you post on Marco Polo that you do specifically say, I would like some feedback. What would you guys have done? Because then you never know who all is going to answer, and you get all the different perspectives, which was the very first point you made about the huge benefit of being with Southeast, is all these different successful perspectives, right?
Yeah, and it's when I go back to there's been so many different things, but I've seen Julia ask questions, Claudia ask some questions, Joe asked some questions, and then people would get on there and answer, and there'd be 3 or 4 answers, all kind of similar. Does that make sense? But you can kind of pick which one works best for you. Does that make sense? Because everybody, the way that we all handle situations is not the same. It's not. When Claudia asked about how to replace that policy. Dude, she got 4 or 5 different modes to do that, right? All were effective. But then she got to decide which one did she feel comfortable with doing. And I think that's what this is about. You know what I mean? It's like more we share, the more we grow. The more we share, the more we mold ourselves and other people into who they want to be, to who we want to be. Does that make sense? And it's a lot of fun, you know. And I see it. You know, I mean, I see it from Chantel the other night. You know, I mean, there's so many stories. I sit back and watch them. My wife, she's like, "What are you doing?" Right? She was, "What are you doing? Like always looking at your phone now?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm just watching these videos. I got to catch up for the day." Because I listen to every single one. And I'm in like 4 or 5 different groups. And I listen to every single one because I don't think people are getting on there just to shoot the crap, right? That's one thing I like about Polo. Like nobody's going to get on there and say, "Hey guys, how hope everybody's having a great day." Like that's not happening. Does that make sense? Like so I like that. You know what I mean? Where like on another app, people can just shoot text and notifications can go off for like no reason. Like, dude, okay, we got it. Does that make sense? So like I like it forces you to have content. It forces you to get out of your shell. Does that make sense? And I think we all have a shell. You know? And I'm gonna. You mind if I transition into the Saturday call page and kind of what that's about?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I definitely want to talk about that.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and I know I kind of I mentioned it when we were talking about the structure and things like that and perspective that we're going to get from other agents, but I kind of want to explain to you guys why we're doing it, okay? So there's a lot of growth happening, and there's a lot of agents right now who are going, you know what, either I want to get off to a fast start or I need to figure some things out. I got some questions, okay? So we're going to do this call every Saturday morning at 8 o'clock Pacific time. Okay, it's not going to be on the East Coast because that means it would have to be 5 my time, and that's not like. And I was talking to my guy. I got the guy I talked to. He's like, "Dude, like, why do you schedule stuff so early? Like, don't you have to like get your mind right? You know what I mean?" I'm like, "Yeah, I guess that would be good." You know what I mean? He's like, "Yeah, why don't you block out all the noise until about like 7?" And I was like, "Got it." You know, right? So take some advice there, you guys. Like, if you're going to get up early, don't start working immediately. Like, take some time to yourself. You know, that makes sense. Like, clear it out a little bit.
Morning mindset routine. Yes, sir.
It helps. Like, waking up early and just starting work early is not the answer. Waking up early, getting your mind right, and then starting work is the answer. So I know I'm kind of getting off track, but that's why. So,
good stuff, though.
So Saturday mornings, 8 a.m. on the West Coast, 11 Eastern. And what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to have a Q&A, all right? This week we're going to have Zach Tordowski on. All right, he's going to answer questions. He was a Hall of Fame hitter the first year, Rookie of the Year, and this year he'll be over 500,000. And his team, he just missed VP by like $6,000 last month. Okay, they're doing a lot of good things. He can answer a lot of your questions, and this call's for you guys. And the reason we have it at Saturday is because it's inconvenient. Like that's why it's at Saturday at 8 o'clock, 11 o'clock. You're like, well, I usually have an appointment Saturday at 11. Cool. This is your new appointment. That's the way I look at it. It's like if you want to get better, you will put this before everything else. You just will. It just won't. You won't miss it. Like I know how many times I've missed a TNL? Like never. Does that make sense? Like I just don't miss them. But you have new agents and agents who aren't having the crazy success that they want. The reason is that they're not consistently getting fed, and sometimes they don't have a space to where they can ask questions. So Saturdays at 8, we're going to open it up for questions. If you guys have questions already, you can send them over to me, and I can kind of line them up to kind of ask them in a good order. If things do come up during the call, it will be an open line, and they will always be live. Okay, so as you guys know, some of the calls aren't live. Sometimes we record them before and put them out there or whatever the case may be. This is a call that will only be live. And if you miss it, you won't get the recording. You know, you just sorry you missed it. You know, if you're on it and you want the recording, you can get the recording. Because I feel that nobody gets anything the first time they hear it, Paige. Nobody ever gets it the first time they hear it. You're going to need to hear it 2, 3, 4 times. But I believe if you get that aha moment on Saturday, you deserve to get the recording. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
So, and this call, guys, it's for all of us, and I say like it's more for you than it is for me. But at the end of the day, that's not true because the questions that you guys are asking, I'm going to be able to hear how Zach answers them. I'm going to be able to hear the questions you guys are asking, to kind of better figure out how to coach, how to mentor, how to guide. So although I don't need is different than want. I want to learn how to sell more life insurance and things like that. Need to? Nah. I don't need to learn how to dial the phone. I don't need to learn that's not a need to type of thing. But it's always good to learn more and be sharp at it. But this call, is for the agent, So if we get on there and there's very little questions or there's no questions, we'll just cut it. It'll just be over. Because there's no glory in just saying, let's have a call just to have a call. That's not what this is about. Saturdays at 8 o'clock.
Well, that's one thing. FFL never wastes anybody's time. It's good training or it's not. That's it.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about it. I know this is how we can get good fast. You can get great really fast. And just be open to it. You know what I mean? And I think it's going to promote some weekend activity as well. Do you know what I mean? It's like you get off that call and, you had 3-4 appointments and next thing you know, somebody said something about some door knock and stuff. Next thing you know, now you're making, 3 or 4 more sales that Saturday that you wouldn't have because you learned something. So.
Yeah, no, that sounds awesome. And I have it blocked in my calendar. I run all day Saturday, but I have, and I just went ahead and did 11 to 12. Since, it kind of goes as long as it goes, I wanted to be sure that I'm not missing. So, yeah, I've got it blocked. I'm excited about it. Now, Dom, we should email questions if we have them.
So that's really cool.
Yeah.
So, Paige, I love you, okay, because, you could get on it. Does that make sense? Yes, this is more for new agents and things like that. But if Paige didn't get on the Saturday call, I wouldn't have been like, Paige, why weren't you on there? Or you should have been on there. Now, should she be? Yeah, and I'm happy that she sees, that you see why you should be without that. So that's really cool. I didn't expect that, but I did expect it at the same time. But it's cool. It's really cool.
No, I'm kind of like you. I'm still honing my craft in terms of sales. I've never sold anything before. And anything I can do to improve, good. It's good for me. But then it's just like you also mentioned, the things I hear, it can better help me help agents. And as much as I enjoy protecting families, I enjoy helping agents protect families and, make money, get deposits in their bank account. I like that even more. So I want to get better at both. And this sounds like a perfect opportunity for that. And I hope that everybody will see this and, take advantage. And, Dom, should the questions that we may have now, should we email those to you?
Yeah, you can shoot me an email, Dom at FFL Golden State, or you can just shoot me a text as well, 707-330-1489. Or, what would be better? I'm just going to tell you, what would be better to promote this is if we put our questions on Polo.
Okay.
That if LaTwan had a question, she goes on the GS for Growth chat. Hey, I got a question for Zach. What was his lead mix when he started? How did he create cash flow? That makes whatever the case may be. Does that make sense? So if we can do that, that'll be a home run. That'll be a home run. And then we'll start, and then the answers won't be on Polo. So it will drive people to go, I want to know the answer to that. I want to know the answer to that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, let's do that. All right? Yeah, let's do that. Let's use these platforms to all of our advantages.
Great. And I think that's the exact message of the whole purpose of today's call is to use these platforms, to use this merge to our advantage, and basically not get left behind. I mentioned to an agent today that we it's a very old analogy, I know, but I feel like we've been kind of the big fish in the fish tank.
Yeah.
But I feel like, Dom, we've gone from the tank to the ocean, and we are now in Finding Dory mode. I mean, I'm that little, and
we're out there. We're little Nemo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Dory,
all right.
Nemo,
Now
you're right.
you bring
I had
up
it backwards.
Yeah, you bring up a great point. All right, because that is the truth, man. It's like we are in a position now to where everybody, when I say we, I mean me, you, everybody, from all of us, we're in a position now to where it's either we rise up or we get left behind. And that's not a you thing, that's an us thing. And that was a big part of this too. I started to feel that, Paige. I was like, oh man, we're about to get left behind in this thing. Like we got to change. I got to change. We got to change this thing up. And now with this merger, it's the right move. But if we don't adapt, if we don't adjust and adapt, they're not slowing down for us. Does that make sense? Like Mike Killiman isn't going to slow down. John Wetmore is not slowing down. Galen Ware is not slowing down. Does that make sense? So it's like, let's just let's. But you know what? We have the ability. You know, we were really good on the JV team, and now we got called up to varsity, and we got to fight for a spot. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And I think all of us on this call has a little bit of that competitive nature. Does that make sense? And it's not, hey, I'm trying to beat anybody else, but I just want to be better than I was yesterday. And if all of us can I be better than I was yesterday, we're going to win. Because I know I talked to John, and he just goes, dude, that's all we try to do. You know, if you booked 10 appointments last week, book 12 this week. If you booked 12, it's not, well, I didn't book 30. Did you book more than you did last week? Yes? Smile. Keep going. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And I think that if all of our focus is there, there's no way we're getting left behind. Does that make sense? Because the only person stopping us from moving is us. You know, that's it. You know, so no, that's a great point, and I don't think anybody here wants to get left behind. And I see the activity that is showing it. You know, and it's a privilege to be a part of. So.
Yes. Well, and Dom, I just want to take a second to say thank you. I know that this change I know it's good for all of us without a doubt, but to come to the decision to do this could not have been one that you made lightly or that was easy. But as a true leader, I can tell 100% that you put what is best for all of us in the decision making. And I think we are all going to benefit from it, from you all the way down to every single person on our team. And I'm super excited about it. And I also just want to thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule to give some perspective here for all of us. And, that I think with that, we can definitely wrap it up. The message is don't get left behind. Take advantage, people. So go out and make it a great week, everybody.
Thank you, Paige, and everybody else, thank you for